What's going on?
Hey, how's it going, man? Sorry, guys, started a little bit late. What's happening, everybody? Good to see all you guys in here already. And it's a small little slate that got a little more interesting with the Toronto news.
What happened?
Gary Trent and Anunoby are out, which is sort of expected, but the projection systems didn't have them in. Had them in earlier.
I actually got that done. I just updated stuff now, so I'm gonna post
nice.
them. I just haven't looked at it yet. I don't know who I'm presuming. Do they have starters yet?
We don't have starters, no. But De'Aaron Fox also looks like he's really more of a game time decision and very possibly going to play.
Okay.
So that sort of kills all the other guys on Sacramento. So I think what people are going to be deciding is what to do, how many Toronto players should they have. Remember, it's a back-to-back, and they are playing a terrible defensive team, though. For me, I have I think you're playing one of Scotty Barnes, at least one of Scotty Barnes, Siakam, and Schroeder. My favorite would be in that order: Barnes, Siakam, Schroeder, but I like all three of them. Otto Porter will probably start, but he's 3,400, but I don't think that he's okay. I prefer the other guys. I would rather play the upside, maybe some of the younger guys rather than the older guy. So Grady Dick at 3,300 is going to look like a pretty decent value for the price. As is, I'm just grabbing my notes here. Sorry. Grady Dick, Podol on a back-to-back, but he only played 20 minutes last night, so I think that's possible, but I also think you could play Precious. I think there's a lot of ways you could go. My favorites, though, being Siakam, Barnes, Schroeder, and then getting some Grady Dick and maybe a little bit of Otto Porter as the priorities for me.
Yeah, I was wondering if things broke in a certain way, if they would actually start Otto Porter. That's interesting.
I think they will. I actually don't think it's as interesting as a play as the other ones, but because I just don't know how, he hasn't played 20 minutes in a game in 2 years, he's had an injury-riddled career. Just hard for me, and he's shooting reliant. It is a good matchup, obviously, but I think the minutes, Malachi Flynn could end up getting them. People keep saying that. I was just listening to other shows, and they're saying they don't want to give Malachi Flynn minutes. He's been playing between 14 and 22 minutes. He played 22 minutes the other night. That's reasonable at 3,500 as a guy who's going to be a little lower owned in that spot. But because I think people will go to Grady Dick more. We also we think Caruso is probably out, which I would have assumed at the beginning of the day also, but the projections had him. So I think that Torrey Craig is another value play you could use at 4K. Patrick Williams you could take a shot on, but I think Ayo Dosunmu would be the one who benefits along with Kobe White, who I already liked anyway. And Patrick Williams is still technically questionable also, so we'll see about that one on the back-to-back. Thanks a lot, Johan, for the kind words. Appreciate that very much. Very nice of you to say. And I hope we win tonight too. Let's try to get it. So I think that, look, you're playing, in my opinion, I don't think you need to play three, but I think I'm going to have at least 2 Toronto players on all my teams minimum. I will probably have 3 and 4 in some. And on the other side, you've got, so the projection things are interesting, and I'm going to be wrong. I was wrong last week about Matherin, but Avdia is going to look like a really good play projection-wise. My fear is he played 38 minutes last night, and it's on a back-to-back, and that's the most minutes he's played this season. It feels a little shaky, to be honest with you. It makes me like Koulibaly a little bit better, even because of that, and I don't really love the rest of Washington all that much. I wouldn't mind if somebody wants to get to a little Landry Shamet as a value play potentially, or Corey Kispert. Obviously, you can always play one of Kuzma or Poole or both, but I'm not as excited about that prospect tonight. So 3 from Toronto, probably at least 1 Bull. Probably not going to have much interest in Sacramento, although I am going to play some Sabonis because the ownership doesn't look like it's going to be too high. And then I think you want to decide for Cleveland on DraftKings. Jared Allen is my favorite. I also like Darius Garland, and I think he's a great play on FanDuel as well. And I think Max Struss is being under projected. So And I mentioned Levert earlier as the get wild play. Not sure if we need to do it as much, but I think he's completely worth taking a shot on. So those are sort of my main things. That's sort of like, 6 guys from my lineup, 2 from Toronto, at least 1, probably 2 from the Bulls. Actually, it's probably more like 5 guys. I'd probably average out to 2.5 Toronto guys per lineup. And then I will have one of these Cleveland guys probably in all my lineups too, including some Mobley and Mitchell. Those are my main pieces, and I am getting to Giannis a lot more than I thought I was going to be on this slate. I do think it's interesting that no one's going to play Damian Lillard. I think it's kind of an interesting guy to take a shot. Another one you can take a shot on that is interesting enough. Look, Milwaukee's been really bad, both with and without Lillard, and the early stuff for them, they just don't look right. You know what I mean? And they need some help in their half court offensively, and they need to figure out how to stop anybody defensively. So I'll give away my free bet of the night is the Bulls plus 9.5, and I like that quite a bit actually.
Bulls plus the 9.5.
Yeah, just until Milwaukee starts proving that they're who they are, which they probably will at some point. But by the way, the Bulls the other night last Wednesday had a stat that I've never in my history of life. I think I mentioned it to you. I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you actually. I've never in my life seen anything like this. Their starters in the first half were not one of them had a plus minus in the positive, and they were minus 48 as the starters.
What?
All of the reserves had no negatives. Not one had a negative rating, and they were plus 48. So the game was tied. But I've never seen that before. Like
so weird.
It's all plus 48, and the starters are all minus 48. Especially for the Bulls, who are like their starters are supposed to be like, that's their thing. They're not deep enough. That was their thing in the past. Now it's like now apparently they're deep enough. They just don't have enough good players on their starting lineup.
So I just ran the projections because you know what, I can't believe I did this for you guys, but my minutes were off, so I just had to, because I wanted to see what was going on here.
Yeah.
So I just re-uploaded them. Yeah, it looks like point per dollar wise. Yeah, look at it's mid range again. I mean, listen, you can get to Giannis a little easier now, but still like the Schroeder now and the
yeah.
I play Garland.
Schroeder, Garland, yeah.
Like these types of prices. Still like Siakam. No, like none of these are low owned by a stretch, but I'll tell you who looks low owned is the guy you mentioned, Pirtle.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see him being worth a gamble. Yeah, the Toronto guys, I don't expect many of them to be low owned. The one who would be low owned, you could take a shot. Like, I don't think people are going to play that much Porter, although once he starts, maybe they will, if he does in fact start. But remember, if Precious starts, then he's going to look, and everybody's going to play him too. So Malachi Flynn is the one that's kind of the interesting. I really don't have a good feel for how he's going to be owned. I think I could see him as high as like 10 or 15% if he's not starting, but still pretty low. He and Boucher would be like the really low owned ones that I think I would take a shot or two on.
What about? Well, I'll tell you who's I see sub 10%. And listen. And that's Jason Tatum. I don't know. It's just short slate.
Yeah.
And of those spend ups, I mean, he's the lowest owned.
Other than Lillard.
That's true. I have Lillard about 13, but that's
really?
Yeah, it's 20 hairs, I guess.
On DraftKings?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
He's only 8,600.
Goldie and Saberson have him a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just
Could be.
That's possible. I mean, that's the thing. I think it actually is a harder slate to project for ownership than most of the slates we deal with for a small one. I mean, I don't know how many people are going to click the Grady Dick button, and what's going to happen is there's all these cheap guys now, and the projection sites are all going to have them within a couple of points. But depending on which projection site has him where, they're going to have his ownership, based on those 2 or 3 points that we're talking about.
Right.
It's going to be like one guy's going to be 30 or 40%, and one guy's going to be like 5%.
Well, Scotty Barnes now, getting a lot of him.
Yeah. Barnes and I think Siakam. I really think playing one. I think if you're not playing those guys, you should play Schroeder. I do have Avdia because he looks like the best point per dollar play on FanDuel. I do have him a little bit, but I really would like to get rid of him because it just doesn't feel like on a back-to-back after playing maybe even his career high in minutes that they're going to just like let him roll with it. You know what I mean? Especially if the game gets ugly. K9 is asking for my favorite bull on FanDuel. He says he likes Vooch. That's my answer as well. Vooch is in my big buy-in on FanDuel today.
Was that right?
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm still not getting to the top spends.
It's yeah. I mean, it's really fine. You know, like it's just a matter of how you're building. I have some lineups where I actually have Giannis and Sabonis. I have other lineups where my highest spend up is Siakam. You know.
Yeah.
What is going to happen is Julius Randle is going to be way, way, way lower owned than he was going to be in the beginning.
He's currently in my big buy.
I like that, but I actually was going to say my thing was I was going to play Julius Randle with Siakam together, like just using that as a build if I was going to use Randle. But I think it's totally fine to play him over Siakam. But if I was playing him over Siakam, I probably would want Scotty Barnes or Schroeder in that lineup. But yeah, so it's a little one, not a whole lot we're waiting on RJ Barrett. He's a game time decision with a illness, but it's probably just the back-to-back off of being banged up all year. And that's a big deal because all of a sudden then this Toronto chalk doesn't seem quite as appealing when you jump over to the Knicks side. Both Brunson and Randall get a huge boost, but Josh Hart is still reasonable at 5,300 if that's the case, if that's the situation. Emmanuel quickly becomes a great play if that happens.
Yeah.
And I would even get to a little bit of Quentin Grimes if we did lose RJ.
Well, that would be now we're talking.
And I think that's possible. But the problem is I worry a little bit about that game. Boston has been very, very, very tough, except for like literally in all but 2 games this season. They're just massacring people.
So tell me more about this Grady Dick play.
Grady Dick was the number 8 pick in the draft this year. He's a really good player from Kansas. The thinking would be that they would want to try to get him more run when they have the opportunity to. We've seen him, mostly be in the minutes in the teens, the low one, but this today, I think guessing him for over 20 minutes would make a little more sense. He did play over 20 minutes in 3 games earlier in the year. I believe one was a massive blowout, but it's speculative, but it's, he and Desonmu, if you're spending down, are the 2 guys you're deciding between. I have Desonmu a little bit better of a play, but I think Grady Dick, if for some reason Grady Dick starts, then he's going to look.
I have a question. What do you prefer between Grady Dick and Otto Porter?
I'm not going to play Otto Porter.
Oh, well, I guess that's the answer.
Yeah. Okay. As of right now, I don't have one Otto Porter lineup. But I mean, if something else had, oddly, if Randall was out, I'm sorry, if what's his name was out, maybe I would get to some of him because then I could play Brunson, Randall, and Giannis and the run back from the Bulls if I got enough value, right? So that's what I might look to do. And then that's when I would include Otto Porter. But right now I don't have him as high as the other ones. And we're just speculating on the starting lineup. So that's a big thing.
Like if Otto Porter doesn't start, I don't want to play him at all, actually.
Yeah, I honestly am not sure that even if he starts, I'm really curious where the field is going to have him. Even with the projected starting thing, he's still projected to score less fantasy points than Grady Dick. And he definitely has less of a ceiling. And I just can't picture him playing. I mean, he's being projected right now for 24 minutes. I don't think he's going to play more than 24 minutes. I think 24 might even be a reach because he hasn't played 20 in 2 years. I would Grady Dick projected right now with about 20 minutes. I would rather those 20 minutes than Otto Porter's 24.
And he has upside from the 20.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that's my build. I posted my stuff in the premium for people. If anybody wants to check out where I'm at both build wise, and I also put my bets in. Bets barely a winner yesterday. 5-4 in the NFL in betting. So little knockdown.
You will take that though.
I'll take it all day. I do have a take. I guess we're going to talk a little bit about football, I guess, but
yeah,
I have a take in that game too.
All right, we'll talk about that whenever you want. Actually,
should we just do that? You want to just transition in and we can pop back into basketball?
Yeah, sure.
We've got a ton of people in
Let
here.
me just finish updating my lineup here.
Okay.
And then
you do that. I'll start talking a little bit, and then we'll jump.
Yeah, because I have some. I have pretty obvious takes on the football. But yeah, I'm ready for you. Go ahead.
All right, I'll get over to it in just a second. Yeah, Giannis is totally fine with Dame. I'm sorry, with Dame playing. Okay. Not Dame on the same lineup. I mean, he's saying is Giannis okay to play with Dame back? Yeah. We're not going to do that on 4-game slates and just eliminate. If we had a 15-gamer, it would definitely be a boost down to Giannis. Dame's back, but we're not really worried about that today. He's still projected to outscore everybody else on the slate by a decent margin. All right. Over to football for a minute. Let's do this. Sorry, usually I would have it more structured, and the problem is
But make sure if and when the Washington the Toronto lineups come in.
I'm looking. I'm monitoring. If anybody else sees any starting lineups, please post them in the Discord or let us know when they're available because I'm refreshing constantly. But in case I get distracted with the football, so. Joanne says running at 4-2 Denver tonight, and that is a lot of what I have tonight. Actually, this is sort of what my take is. My take on the game, first of all, I slightly like the over, but I like Denver here plus the 7.5. I remember these Bills are very strange, but also they tend to beat the hell out of the bad teams. The problem is Denver hasn't been bad; they've been playing much better, and Russ has actually looked pretty good. Not to mention that the Buffaloes now they're without their best corner and one of the best corners in football for the rest of the year. I think this is a good spot to attack for. I think it's a fun slate actually. I think it could be a high scoring slate. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff, but I like the 4-2 Denver and then captaining like playing Josh Allen as one of my other two for the Bills, and then using Gabe Davis, Dalton Kincaid, Stephon Diggs, those guys more in the captain. I probably won't end up playing in my big buy-ins any Diggs or any Josh Allen. I'm probably just going to play Davis. I'm probably going to play Kincaid. Kincaid is my favorite overall play. Denver's the worst team in football against tight ends. Kincaid coming off of 11 targets, 10 catches. I think he's the best, what's it called? The best captain play on the slate for me anyway. And looking at my exposures, I will have 100% Josh Allen. I don't really see how that's not going to happen. Let me go to my NFL stuff. Hold on 1 second. I already built a lineup for next week. So, all right. Josh Allen, I have 100%, 70% Javonte Williams right now, 70% Gabe Davis, 70% Latavius Murray. I like the double running back a little bit tonight. I don't usually like that for Buffalo, but I think also Murray they haven't been running Josh Allen hardly at all. I think Josh Dobbs has twice as many rushing yards as Josh Allen does. So I'm more on the side of the running game, but I'm getting to a ton of Latavius Murray as my spend down, sort of thinking that I'm not going to captain him or anything. I think Troutman's going to be pretty popular, and I think it's a totally good play. Like he's a starting tight end at 200. But I also think that it could easily be Manhurts. We don't know that it's going to be Troutman, but he's the most logical one. It also could be Adkins. They have a few tight ends they can use. But I like the idea of getting to some P. Ryan and to some Latavius Murray. So those are two guys who I'm using for my value. And then I'm going to be 50% on Sutton, 50% on Diggs, 50% Kincaid. But I actually think I'll be higher on Kincaid, and most of them will be captains. And then Russ Wilson, I only have 40% right now, but I probably will end up getting a little more. And I wanted to make sure to get some exposure to Tyler Bass and the Bills defense, just in case I'm wrong. So it's a little rundown of what I'm doing for that, and I'm going to check to see if the NBA starting lineups came in.
So let me go through, because obviously since I'm playing this lottery stuff, I familiarized myself with all this other stuff from this game. So here's a couple of things that I'm looking at. So first of all, the Troutman play is pretty obvious and pretty popular. And probably a pretty good play, actually. But like you said, I mean, Troutman is not exactly, Dalton Kincaid either, like it's, but listen, I'm definitely going to play him. The other piece from I want to talk about is the Bills, because so what was happening is they were doing a lot of, for the like wide receiver 3 or whatever, they were doing a lot of between Shakir, Sherfield, and even like Deontay Hardy, whatever. In the last game, specifically, Shakir really kind of stepped up ahead of everybody else. Sherfield kind of dropped off, and Hardy kind of dropped off. And so it's logical, I guess, to presume that's been kind of decided. But in Showdown, I don't think it works that way. I think that you can go back to those other 2 guys if you want to. Because remember, in that game, by the way, they lost. Okay, so who's to say that they're going to go back to something that had them lose? So I would go back if you were gonna mess around down there. I would give those other dudes a shot again, the Hardy and the Sherfield, because I mean everybody's like so sure that it's going to be one way. It's just not exactly that easy. And another kind of like dart throw, wherever it is, on the Broncos side. Again, just for Showdown upside and stuff like that. I'm going to take another shot at the Mims. At some point, they're going to probably want to do something with him. And I don't know, someone came up with a pretty good take that sometimes teams, when they have that bye week, they like come out like off the bye week, like doing something different. So I'm especially listen in a game like this, which 2 weeks to prepare for this. Maybe this could be a game where Mims gets a little more action. So I will try that a little bit. What kind of interest do you have in Cook?
So I do like Cook on paper. I'm not getting to him as much as I would have thought. I mean, I like him. I'm trying to go out of my way to play a little bit of Cook and Latavius Murray, and I'm trying to also get a lot of P. Ryan on the other side.
The other thing I will also say, and again, I'm a little more familiar with this than you are, like what other people are starting to do in Showdown more. So if you like that, those double running back builds still, because I know you tend to like them, that's becoming a really unpopular way to play. There are people like, I know that's why I bring it out. There are people actually they're like SaberSim users that will specifically make rules like max 1 running back nowadays.
I think it's a terrible play.
And whether it's terrible or not is like almost irrelevant. The fact is that people are doing it, then it's becoming overly popular. Right. And so if you do like the double running backs, then you get double double the action, because you're not only playing what you like, but you're playing what now other people don't.
Right. That's right.
The other thing is again, I think Joanne said or whatever. Yeah, playing 4-2 Denver's, it's not like as off the board as you think, only because Troutman is like $2. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you wanted to play 4-2 with no Troutman, then now you're getting somewhere with me. You know what I mean? Then you're really, really different. Like you want to somehow get in like the Mims with Sutton, Williams, and Judy, and Wilson, something like that. Then you're getting somewhere. Then you're really different, I think, because Troutman is like obviously going to be a part of those whatever people are doing with 4-2s as far as Denver 4-2s are concerned.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I also think that, but it's true. But like, also, do you need? It depends on your build, I guess. It's harder to get four guys in from Denver, so maybe it wouldn't go as much that way as we think.
It's not hard because if you play half Troutman.
No, the point is that it's hard to spend enough. Nobody's going to want to leave $7K on the table. So if you're playing 4 Denver guys, I actually am not sure that Troutman would be included with them. It really depends on who you're captaining. So I guess if you're captaining Josh Allen or if you're captaining Josh Allen or Stephon Diggs, then yes, Troutman will be one of those guys. Right. If you're not, I don't think that necessarily would be the guy. And for what it's worth, I would rather play P. Ryan than Troutman. And he's more expensive, but
he is.
That's my personal take.
Yeah, I wouldn't leave out that other guy, by the way, that other running back from Denver. He's very dynamic.
Javonte Williams.
Yeah, and they like him there.
Yeah, they like him. He still doesn't ever have a game, but
he's dynamic. You know what I mean? Like he's fast, and you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they like watching him play. So
yeah, no, I've got tons of Javonte. I mean, it feels like it's sometimes he finally had his really big game against KC.
Javonte Williams, I mean, but I don't mean him. I mean the other guy.
P. Ryan.
No, the other guy. Jaleel, whatever his name is.
Oh, you mean Jaleel McLaughlin?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the guy that I was referring to. They really like him. I don't know where
they really like him all they want. Give him 4 carries, okay?
Yeah, let's go. 4 carries, one of them goes for 50 yards and a touchdown. Let's go. I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's an argument for not playing my P. Ryan more than anything.
Well, that's what I was saying when you mentioned P. Ryan.
Yeah. No, maybe you're right. Maybe their snaps have been similar-ish. No, yeah, he only played 17. McLaughlin. Yeah, McLaughlin only played.
He's a young guy upside, though. I don't know.
Yeah, McLaughlin only played 8 snaps last week, which is interesting.
It's not very much, but
and 17 for P. Ryan, which is. Again, not a ton, but
because they really gave it over to what's his name. It was a big game. It was a big win for them.
Yeah, no, you're right. Absolutely, but it's. I think P. Ryan was still coming in on 3rd downs, as far as I remember. Yeah, that would be close to. Yeah, they would basically be splitting the 3rd down work.
Again, these are like stupid like lottery type stuff, but like I could do even a. You want to do like a weird, funny correlation. You could do Mims with McLaughlin, like 2 rookies. You know what I mean? Like 2 young guys. They'll give work together or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to any of this at all. It makes sense to me. Even though I didn't find the exact same thing myself, but I.
Well, I mean, like you're playing much more normal stuff.
No. But I like these plays though. I think these are interesting.
All right, I'm just so everybody knows I'm updating the those NFL showdown projections. But again, keep showdown projections are like about as useless as like baseball projections.
Yeah, I agree with that statement. The thing that you know what my rule for showdowns are, sheets like is the guy projected to play.
No, that's true.
If he's going to play 1 snap, I'm in.
No, this is dude. This is one of the things that I think about is when I Pope Saberson. Like, who do I knock out of my player pool? Like, if he's got, I have it. Usually, if it's got like a projection of less than 1, I might knock him out. But if it's like 1 point or more, I got to leave him in.
Right. That's right. That's basically that's the way showdown multi-entry works. It's crazy. All right, I've got 2 months. I've got so much Kincaid at captain. It's kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
Anything on in basketball yet?
I don't have it yet. No, I don't have any
for no starters for Toronto.
I don't have the news, but let me see. I've got an alert that I didn't see. No, nothing that I've seen yet. My guess is they'll come out in like 10 minutes.
Pulling out my NBA on State Kings. Wonder if I made money on your stuff yesterday. I hope so. I didn't check yet.
I don't know.
That's what I bought, right? That's what I bought.
You probably weren't in on the single entry stuff, which was like 20.
I may have. I don't
No,
know.
but they sell out. Those usually sell out like.
Oh, yeah,
instantly.
you're right. You're right.
And I posted them on like Wednesday. All right, I've got my 4 running back build is in.
Oh, let's go.
We've got
Like
it.
that,
Cook, Murray, Williams, and Pirine, and Josh Allen and Diggs. The problem is, if I do that build, I probably shouldn't play Josh Allen and Diggs, because if anybody comes across that exact build, that's exactly what they'll put. But it won't be that many people, you know? I don't know. It's sort of a tough one.
Nine is 450.
All right, let's see if there's any other questions or thoughts. 4-2 is the 4-2 on DK equivalent to a 4-1 on FanDuel with 5? No, it's just a different thing.
That's an interesting question.
I really think that people who, if you're playing showdowns on FanDuel, I really think that, like, unless you're entering a bunch of lineups from a script, I really don't know what you're hoping to accomplish. Like,
Nothing. You're just degenning.
It's like it's craziness. I mean, I don't understand why FanDuel won't fix it either, but whatever.
They're really stubborn about it, though. It's been like that forever.
Yeah. Nick, what's up, my man? Good to see you. I will rank my Boston guys as such. Here's my ranking of my Boston guys. 0. I don't have any Boston player in any of.
I do. You know what I have? I have a little the Porzingis.
Oh, Barrett's out. Okay, never mind. Now I'm gonna have Boston guys. Okay.
Wait.
Let's rebuild everything.
Wait, what'd you say?
RJ Barrett's out.
What does that mean for the average man?
That all of the Knicks are now in play.
Oh, love the NBA. It's my favorite.
Especially sadly your sweet kind of cool quickly play is going to be really popular now.
Now become the hipster play.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Michael. Appreciate the help on that one. So now my favorite Boston guys are going to be in order: Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Derek White, then Tatum, then Porzingis. That's it.
Okay, so unfortunately, what this means is that I'm going to have to go.
Yeah.
Because now I'm going to have to change everything.
Yeah. And guys, I'm going to update my builds and post them in the premium, and then probably about 10 minutes once I get some better clarity on the projections and confirmation. Hopefully, I'm starting lineup or two. But that game, is at the 7:30 games. We're going to be cutting it close. I'll put it that way. All right. Anything else, guys? Please hit me up in the Discord for NBA. Just make sure to tag me for NBA or NFL in the premium, and I will do my best to get.
I have one other thing. It's kind of a sweat coming up for whatever. So for those of you that followed this, that circa millions. First of all, Survivor's getting really interesting. I'll get into that later. Really, one pool I'm in would have 8,400 people. Is down to like 200 now.
Oh, okay.
Everybody at Cincinnati that went into the garbage can. Some people at Baltimore, they went in the garbage can. But in this circa millions thing where you pick against the spread every week, they start like the next quarter where you get it's like 100,000 for first over the next 4 or 5 weeks. And I started this week 5-0, so I'm off to literally perfect start heading into this quarter. Which is
awesome, man! That's great.
So let's
exciting.
Ooh, now did I actually put this in or did I not? Oh, this sucks. So debt Buffalo. All right, so I have to run because I have to do the projections.
Michael, that's why Sheets is leaving, so he can go update his projections. Goldie will probably do one more run as well for both sports, and SaberSim will have theirs updated. It's going to take probably 10 minutes or so for the RJ Barrett to come across for everybody. So
at least.
Yeah. So hang in there. This is what base basketball is. But yes, there will be updated projections as best we can. And good luck to everyone tonight. I'll see you guys in the premium Discord, and let's make some money. Good luck, everybody.